Alright, so we're going to have a PVZ on Daybreak in the bottom left-hand location with the Red Zerg player Pull. We saw him... Cool. Thanks, COD Army. You are the man. Bottom left-hand location, we have the Red Zerg player Pull. We saw him a little bit yesterday. He participated in one of the tournaments. Got pretty far. I'm trying to remember the strategies he utilized, but my memory is failing me a little bit. Top right-hand location, we have the blue Protoss player RommelACE. Don't know much about him. I didn't have a chance to check his profile. But we can start getting an idea of what his skill level is at based on what he does. As of right now, pylon positioning, I'm not terribly ecstatic about it. If you look at... gosh, I wish you could see the warp. Can you... I wish you could see the area it covers. But I feel like some of the area it covers is in this ramp, which is wasted space, essentially. When you're placing your pylons, you want to try to get as much space as possible, unless you're really trying to go for something compact. You really want to protect the pylon. For example, some people put their pylon up against the Nexus to protect the Nexus if there's a run-by later on in the game, which is really smart. And they can start putting buildings around their pylon, which protects it. So the Nexus just serves as protecting the pylon serves as protecting the Nexus. It goes back and forth. But typically, in my opinion at this point, I would like the pylon to go in this area, probably right here. Right here. That way it has maximum coverage over this line from the ramp to this area, right underneath the natural expansion. And the second pylon would go right here, and it would just wall off really nicely. Could have Forge, Gateway, and Cybercore, and that's a wall off. But it's okay, getting a cannon up really fast. I'm not sure if he scouted that pool timing. Okay, so we did see the pool, but I think it was a 14 pool, so this early of a cannon isn't as necessary. There's a lot of interesting things to think about when you're deciding about a cannon. Now, what you can do as a Protoss player, there's no reason a probe shouldn't be alive right now. There's nothing out on the field that can kill a probe. It's just, okay, there's the queen, but before that queen comes out. Before the queen comes out, usually you can count the larva. If you see 3 larvae, if you see 3 eggs, that could be 6 lings. So as a Protoss player, you can be like, okay, I should probably get a cannon down. However, if you only see like 1 egg coming at a time and you're watching them and they're only drones and maybe only 1 set of lings pops out, only 2 lings, then those 2 lings have to worry about tracking down your probe. So you have time to delay that cannon, maybe get your pylon down earlier, maybe get your gateway down earlier, get your gases down a little bit earlier. So there's little things you can look out for. So you can delay your cannon, because cannon is static defenses. It's not helping you late game. It's really not. It's not helping you advance your tech. So it's something that can, you know, be delayed in certain circumstances. Some players just completely ignore it, because if we've noticed, the Zerg player, he hasn't sent any Zerglings across the map. So this cannon is essentially not doing anything. And look, Zealot isn't even going to get out. So he could have gotten away with not even having this cannon. Now there is the issue of, okay, if the Zerg player scouts that there's no cannon, does he end up pushing? But that's pretty risky on the Zerg side of things. You're relying on other things. But anyway, no +1. No, not even a gas being taken here from Rommel. He doesn't even have a Cybercore. He needs a Cybercore. Unless he's only making Zealots out of these gateways. Pole is like, what's going on, man? And there's already Rocheborn on the way. Well, I have a feeling Rommel is not the highest of ranked players here. There's a Cybercore finally going down, and Pole sees the timing of this. So Pole knows exactly what's going on. He has to be a little bit confused, I would imagine. But, you know, we'll see what happens here. A lot of Zealots in production here for Rommel. But again, if you're going to do something like this, first of all, the rush distance is so long on Daybreak that for your Zealots to get across the map, it's going to take a lot of time. That's a lot of time your opponent can prepare. Secondly, Zealots early on in the game, well, not even early. We're like not that early anymore. We're at 8 minutes. A Zerg player can't have roaches out in this time. And if roaches are out and you're walking your Zealots across the map, the roaches can just kite all day long. Now, if he just keeps these at home and doesn't even use them, I would be even more flabbergasted, because again, that's investment into all these Zealots, and if you're not doing it with anything with them, why not spend that investment on tech to advance your tech tree so you can get stronger units out, or spend it on economy so your economy can get a little bit better. Very interesting decisions here from Rommel, adding on 2 additional warp gates, or gateways I should say. Still producing Zealots out of the existing gateways. Cyber Core is only about 30% of the way done. Zealots doing absolutely nothing. We have a Robo on the way too. So yeah, no real rhyme or reason in this build. But that's okay. We can use this to learn. If you're a Protoss player at home, general rule, always get a Cyber Core after the gateway. I mean, sure, there's some fancy timings where you can squeeze out 2 Zealots before getting a Cyber Core to try to do some early pressure. But unless you're at the Grand Master level, you should probably just get the Cyber Core after the gateway and go from there. Get that warp gate really fast. When the gateway's about halfway done, put your first 2 gases down in your main base, and then all your timings will come out quite nicely. Rommel sending a probe down to the middle right-hand location. Looks like he's thinking about expanding. Still hasn't done anything with the units on the ground. And as the game goes along, it's like these units are they're just a waste. They're not doing anything. And he spent so much money on them earlier on. Again, this is money that could have been spent on other things. Only has 1 sentry here. Like 40 roaches at this point, or 20 roaches at this point, which the Zerg player could theoretically have, could probably win the game right now. But Cybercore finally finishing that warp gate technology. Observer on the way. Blink is on the way. As he started +1. Okay, +1 is finished. Should probably start +2 as soon as he can. Might try to get a Nexus fairly soon at his 3rd base. Changeling coming in here. Rommel sees that and snipes him down pretty quickly. Meanwhile, what is Pull up to? A lot of roaches on the field, researching Burrow and Tunneling Claws. Very nice sound build here, getting his economy, getting a good drone count before starting that unit production. 51 drones. Also researching Tunneling Claws and Burrow. 2 evolution chambers in case he wants to start upgrades, and there they are. So very sound, very steady build here, adding on that macro hatchery. Doesn't have too many drones at his 3rd. Might do that mixed in with some roach production here. Attacking these rocks in the middle of the map. And let's see what kind of unit composition Protoss has. Lots of Stalkers here. So Blink is about to finish. So with some good micro, it should be good against this roach composition. There is an observer overhead as well, but Pole sees this. So he should know that, you know, Burrow might not necessarily be as effective. 8 overlords on the way for Pole here. So he does not want to be supply blocked. That's going to bring him very close to 200. Actually, it's going to bring him to 200. So he can max out whenever he wants. At this point, supply will not block him anymore. No, actually, he's going to need 1 more overlord, if my math is correct. But Roach is engaging into the 3rd base of Rommel. No Nexus taken just yet, and he's at 192. So yeah, 1 more overlord. 1 overlord gets killed. The Stalker's blinking forward, trying to get an offensive blink going to try to keep these roaches from retreating, but he's not going to get there in time. Pull back and away. Infestation pit on the way. 22 Zerglings. War Prism going straight to the main base of Pull, but an Overlord sees this. A Queen is in position. There are some roaches here as well. Queen's going to start targeting down at that War Prism. He's just going to warp out of there. Creep spread is actually ridiculous from Pull here. It's pretty darn phenomenal. Really focusing on that creep spread, which is really cool to see. Rommel coming to the middle of the map here. 1-1 is researched. Again, hasn't really started +2. Putting down that 3rd Nexus, adding on 2 additional gateways. And Lings and Roaches coming here from Pole. Force fields need to go down from Pommel. There they go. Trying to split up that army. And that should be enough. Should be blinking back the weakened Stalkers. The Roach is just going to burrow and get behind the force fields. And Pole's just going to be just fine. Up 137 to 109. Still plenty of sentry in this composition, but Pole is not done. No chokes in the area, so Rommel going to try to get up into a choke point so he can force field the bottom and keep the roaches away. Pole trying to bait forward a force field. The force field goes down, but a lot of roaches get up there trying to target down the sentries. Just going to burrow and back right out. Rommel's observer is somewhere down here, and he only had he does have 2 on the field. Okay, there's 1 in the main base. So Pole going to swing around to the 3rd. Wants to prevent this wall from going down. No cannons down for Rommel. No real reason not to have cannons here. He had the money to put down some cannons. Warping in some Stalkers to try to fend this off. The Rommel doing a decent job defending Pole right now. He's just chilling. He's not trying to kill his opponent right now. He's teching up to Spire, teching up to Hive, which means he wants Broodlords. His Pathogen Clan's on the way. Plenty of gas. Should have a 4th base on the ground. If I could be a little bit critical, maybe even a 5th base up here I would put down as well. His drone count isn't phenomenal. I would definitely focus on that drone count, only 62. You want to get to about 75 in my opinion. So behind this Roachling aggression, sure, the Spire and Hive is fine, but you got to mix in those drones. You got to focus on that economy. And you got to get those additional expansions on the ground as well. No reason not to do that, especially when your opponent's on 3 bases. But a lot of Lings running into that 3rd base, targeting down the Nexus, trying to spread out his opponent at the same time. There is a Warp Prism drop in the main base of Pole. Forge Zell's going to target down the Queen. The Infestation Pit could be somewhat vulnerable here. Pole pulling some of his units back. Pulling, yes, that's what I said. Actually just going to pull his Queens up here to try to deal with this. 1 Queen going down, no transfuse from those Queens. A little bit sloppy there, but the 3rd is gone. Lings running into the main base, trying to do damage at the same time. Roach is running into the natural expansion, targeting down the Forge. Rommel has to retreat his arm to put down the force field, but no, Pole's just going to turn around and try to engage. His Guardian Shield's going down there from a Rommel. Force fields as well, and Pole is going to back away, going to pull away. But the economy of Pole is completely, or of Rommel is completely wrecked by those Lings. Only these probes at the natural are left. 23 workers killed. Income tab shows only 29 harvesters on the field for the Protoss player. Pole trying to track down that Warp Prism with the Queens. All right. Pole 167 to 121 in that supply ahead. But, you know, Rommel's expensive units haven't really been dying much. Now, the resources lost, that's more to do with this next to the bottom, next to the top, all those probes. But if there's a good thing for Rommel, it's he still has a decent ground army here that could potentially do damage if he hits before Broodlords come out. This could be like a perfect timing for him. Thermal Lance just got pooped on by an Overseer. That's pretty cool. But if Rommel is going to attack, he needs to do it right now. This is his only timing, I think. Because once Broodlords start popping, it's going to get scary. There are Infestors in the field and plenty of Corruptors, so the Colossus won't be long for this world, and that's when the Infestors can start funneling. So even if he does push right now, it's still going to be incredibly tricky. He's still very far behind this game. Getting supply block doesn't help things at all, adding on a pylon there. 6 Broodlords in production for the Red Zerg player. Beating that 4th base saturated in the middle of the map. Rommel advancing to his opponent's side of the map hole, trying to get in position. Infestors need to throw down those key fungal growths. And Force Field's going down. Looks like Pole is wanting to engage, coming forward with the Broodlords. Fungals going on to the Sentries and the Stalkers. Force Field's going down as well, but Roach is able to get up close and personal. Broodlords doing a lot of damage from above. More Fungals going down, and Rommel's army is getting absolutely melted, not standing a chance to this Zerg army consisting of Roaches, Broodlords, and Infestors engaging on a creep, which is no fun at all. And Rommel is going to get absolutely pummeled in that engagement, going to back up, scrambling, trying to get those units on the field, warping in Stalkers at his 3rd base. The Nexus just now finishing, adding on the Colossus as well, plus 2 armor is on the way. But not sure how that's actually not going to help that much. Still a pretty scary army here, and the Broodlords aren't even here. There they are. 5 Broodlords coming forward here from Pole. Pole attacking into the 3rd base. What does Rommel have to defend? Again, this is a best of 1, I think. Stalkers and Zealots coming forward. That's not much. No sentries, no real expensive units here. 2 sentries being warped in, but Rommel is out of gas, out of economy. Colossus finally coming forward, but the Broodlords are here. Infestors here as well, so Fungal should go down to the Stalkers. Force fields. That's all he had. Why not? I mean, those are good force fields considering these only had 2 of them, but Pole gonna come in here with all of his army and force the GG out of his opponent and gonna take the game. I don't really think it needed to last as long as it did, as my chat is still refusing to load. Very obscure strategy from Rommel in the beginning there. Just skipping the core, making a bunch of Zealots for no reason. And let's see. Okay, Platinum.